See, I don't even need them to buy drinks. I'm ready.
I'm just not there because for me it's mental.
You ready to wine and diner?
Oh, and I'm expensive to eat.
Yeah, she's expensive to eat.
Dino can tell you how much I eat too.
And she's picky.
I'm very picky. Very picky.
Yeah, and expressive.
Extremely. I have no filter. I have no filter.
Yeah, she has no filter. I know all these things.
I think I'm good. No, I'm just kidding.
Right? Because he's like, oh shit, that's just, exactly.
I'm out. I'm Thom Naylor. Hanging out with porn stars and showgirls is fucking awesome. But how much do we really know about them? Join me on the Side Piece podcast where we sit down with them and hear some of the craziest stories from inside the industry. I look forward to seeing you, and follow me on the Side Piece podcast. All right, welcome to the Side Piece podcast. My guest this week is going to be Justice, the entertainer. Justice, how are you?
I'm fantastic as always. Thank you for having me.
Good to see you, my
Good
little
to see you.
Canadian. You hated Canadians.
No one in the world hates Canadians.
I know.
But Doritos.
Yes, that's right. It's funny you say that because I was just in England and two of my touring partners were Canadians. And they asked me, "You're just getting a lot of abuse over here, aren't you?" I said, "I know." I said, "It's usually you guys that get talked about as like being too friendly, too kind, too nice, too simple, too simplistic." And they said, "Yeah, no one said anything to us this whole trip. They've all been focused on you."
Yeah. We are great, aren't we?
Yeah, or not necessarily focused on me, but focused on our wonderful president. So, yeah, it was definitely interesting. So tell me, I know that you live in Canada, but you split your time. You work in the United States.
I do.
So you do the ultimate commute. You do the country commute.
Yes. I cross international borders almost daily.
How's that?
You know what? Almost every single border guard knows me now.
I'm sure.
And they have a nickname for me. In the beginning, it used to be like the Ghostbusters girl because I got like stopped and searched once, and it was actually like
You got fully naked immediately.
Oh, I would think like no, and they didn't understand why I had the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man in my suitcase.
Oh, really?
And I had to explain.
Oh, God.
But since then, it's evolved. So now they call me the diplomat because my particular visa, is very rare. And
That's right, because you
don't
have one of
see
the
it.
older ones that are
I
like
do.
what do they call those? Because I remember when I first met you, you were getting one.
Yeah.
Because I'll
an
think of how they do it.
O1B.
That's what it is. Thank you.
I am an alien of extraordinary ability.
That's right. Extraordinary ability.
Yes.
That's what was stumping me. I was like, I know there's something interesting about the jargon on it. That's what it is.
Yeah, and I know there are some other entertainers who have gotten an O1, but they get a very limited amount of time, whereas me, they provide me a much more longer extended stay. I'm actually just finishing year 6 and going into 7.
That's how long I've known you. Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I remember when you were getting it.
Yeah.
Now, what's funny is I was just talking to Dan last night because he obviously knows who you are. And his first comment was, "Is that the girl that we sat next to for breakfast and she had red hair?"
The $50 sign.
Yeah, and I said, "That is her." I said, "But it was not red." I said, "Her hair was between pink and red."
Yes.
So now, did you use Manic Panic for that?
You know what? I think I did back then.
Yeah.
Because I had tried all the bleaching and all this, and I would go to the salons, but it was never that impactful, like bright red that I wanted. And, you know, I'm not to sound boastful, but I can pull off any hair color. I've been very lucky with that.
Yeah.
And I was like, I just want to be wild. And at that time, when I did my hair red, there was nobody else. Not a single entertainer had red hair.
Yeah, because I'm trying to think. When I first met you at Blush, I think you had red hair.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure.
And then, you know, Lacey came in with red hair. Angel came in with red hair. Phoenix had red hair, you know, and I had red hair since, I want to say 2011, 2012.
Now, what changed that? A child?
No,
I'm
it
just
was.
teasing.
I would like. I mean, I had to change it during COVID
Yeah.
because it was just a thing. It was just no point, right? But it was a matter of growing up.
Yeah.
At some point, you need to, figure out what your brand is. And once you know what your brand is, that's what you need to go for. If you're going to be like Bamboo Jessica and that's your aesthetic, then you go for that.
Yeah.
But if you're trying to be more marketable as a feature entertainer, you have to appeal to a lot of people. Like even just recently, somebody had posted on your Instagram and it said that he didn't like the red hair. And I literally responded with, I don't care.
Oh, I saw that.
Yes. I was like, I don't care.
That's right. I did see that.
And you're like, that's my justice.
Yeah, sometimes I think when I see comments like that from guests or just people on social media, I just think, did you really just spend that time out of your fucking day to make a comment like that?
A negative comment. I'm like,
Like,
do you feel better about yourself?
Couldn't
Because
you
you know
just
what?
pass that over?
I sleep just fine. I really don't care.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's kind of funny that, I always find it funny that a grown straight man has that time in his day that he has to look through feature pictures and comment on their hair color.
Yeah.
That's a note out there to straight men. Take a break.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I thought was funny. If it would have been a woman, and I thought, okay, well, you get that because that's some kind of feminine jealousy thing.
Yes.
But a straight guy that's trolling the internet to find out how he can
But there's
say
a
something
lot
negative.
of that. And one thing I don't really like is when a lot of entertainers take like private messages that are sent to them and they post it themselves on social media. I don't like that. I don't really want to see it. If there's something that is worrisome that you can say, hey, ladies, I had a bad interaction with this person.
Yeah.
Just be careful. But I don't like the whole blasting of people because they are still sometimes clientele that come into the club. So.
Yeah. Well, you got
know.
a positive one last night too. You
Yeah,
got
exactly.
one.
Right off the get-go, I loved your show. It was fire.
Yeah,
and
I
I was
saw
like,
that.
bing.
Yeah, they loved the Mario show.
Yeah.
So and then you get people like that, and it rewards you at the other end where you're like, okay, well, there are normal people in the world still. Everyone's not a negative asshole.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or at least, I mean, I am, but not publicly.
I'm totally negative. That's what best friends are for.
That's right.
Bitch, did you hear?
That's right.
You know
That's
what
how
I mean?
I feel.
That's what you do. You vent to your girlfriends. Don't use social media for bullshit. That's what I think anyways.
No, every time now I notice if I'm reading something, excuse me, I'm a chronic yawner. It's just the way I am. Doesn't matter what time of the day it is. If I sit idle for more than 5 minutes, the yawning starts. Like my body's like, oh, you should get up and do something.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what it means.
Lack of oxygen to the brain.
Really? That might be what it is. My brain is starving.
Starving for excitement.
Yeah. No, but I don't even remember what I was saying before. My brain was starved of oxygen. But we'll get back there.
Out of my brain.
Oh, today, like you and I going out, I have this angry tattoo that I just got. And it's because I'm a hardhead and I have put bracelets on and I sleep with my wrist. And every time I look down at it, it looks like I got a branding. I just look at it, I'm like, oh, that's a English branding. But so if I keep flicking my wrist around, that's why. It just has like a little itch and burn right now. Kind of like my crotch after my first sexual experience.
Yep. That'll do it.
So, Justice, tell me, you've been a feature entertainer for how long now?
Okay, so in my mind, right, Canada hasn't had features in a very long fucking time.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care what any Canadian girl is trying to sell. Feature bookings have been very far and few in between in Canada.
Yeah.
So to me, being a feature is when you're being advertised and you're taken care of by the club, not doing a circuit like how we did in Canada. So that's just my opinion, love me or hate it.
Oh, yeah, so explain for everybody what that circuit was. I mean, I know what that is, but...
Yeah, so in Canada, pretty much in the entire, East Coast of Canada, there is no dancers that are touring, you know,
Yeah.
wearing costumes, anything like that, right? It is pretty much just
House girls.
right? And they keep the shows going. But once you start hitting like Winnipeg and like Alberta and BC, every single girl that goes on stage gets paid. And she gets a base pay based on what her skill level is, how long she's been dancing. It's like a seniority thing, right? And then her costumes, how does she look and her aesthetic. And then these girls, you know, they don't get paid what they should be getting paid, in my opinion. So to me, they're showgirls, but they're not the feature. They're not the headline act that has been brought in. So when people ask me, how long have you been featuring? Well, my first real feature gig wasn't until I went into Ontario. So for me, I didn't start actually featuring until 2010.
Okay, that makes sense.
That's my, I mean, I went out and I did the circuit and everything, you know, but I wasn't billboards and being advertised like that until I went
So
out.
who decides, I mean, I guess I would ask, who decides that seniority and that pay scale?
The agents.
So you do have agents.
Yes, we do have agents. So we have, we used to have Roger, and he would do like Ontario. And then we had Superb Entertainment, which does Manitoba and Thunder Bay, Ontario.
You know, these are all places most Americans don't even know where they are.
Yeah, so
You say Manitoba, that's
Manitoba is
that's like
above like North Dakota, okay? And then you've got Saskatchewan
some
that
fertilizer
doesn't
company.
have any clubs. Well, I'm sure they know some. Come on now, let's give some Americans credit. You know, the Ivy League ones.
I'm going to pick 5 people out of the club tonight and tell them to point to me where Manitoba is.
Oh my God! Right?
We're
Okay,
gonna
so
see what happens.
So here you got a bunch of shit here, right? And then you got a bunch of water here, and then you got a bunch of nothing here. So in that bunch of nothing are our plains, which is just like Middle America, right? It just goes up like that. So all through there, that's
Don't
where
worry,
we
you
have.
guys are going to
like,
be the 51st state anyhow, so who cares?
we all know my feelings on that.
Manitoba, whatever.
So yeah, but then we have like Alberta. So we have independent
That'll
artists.
be called Northern Detroit.
Okay, I live in South Detroit. Like, come on now. But yeah, so we do have agencies, right? And then they decide. So what happens is the club will get a budget presented to them, and they will try to squish as many girls as they can in that budget to run through their schedule. And each girl will get like a letter. If you're an A, then you're the quote unquote feature. You're not.
Were you an A?
I was always the A.
Oh,
however,
That's why I like
did
her.
share that spot, and what would happen is, for example, my bestie Janine Jericho.
Yeah.
I met her like on tour after a competition, and I was A spot, and then I was doing 2 weeks there, and she was B spot, and then the very next week we switched, and then she was A, and then I was B.
I forgot she was Canadian.
Yeah, so the Canadians that are actually in the United States right now, which most people don't know, one I'm not allowed to say because I don't know but she was an overall Grand EDI champion. She is actually a Canadian. So then there's myself.
Wait, who is that?
I can't tell you. It's
Come
not my
on.
place to tell.
Come on.
That's up to her.
Just tell her. What's her initials?
I already gave a hint. So that's not my place.
Wait, give me another hint.
I'll
Oh
tell you
no, I
later.
can't use that word. That's a word that gets
Oh my
canceled.
God, you can't say that now.
Good Lord.
But yeah, Janine Jericho.
Yeah, I need one of those signs in my yard that says, "I'm bringing that word back."
Yeah, Janine Jericho is Canadian. Nia
No,
Nebula
yes.
is Canadian.
Oh, I know she's Canadian. She's also an only child.
Yeah,
She knows that too.
We know.
That's how I posted.
Yeah, that
know.
girl knows how to text.
And call.
Yes, and call. Because I always know. I set myself up, not to do a big segue, but I set myself up all the time to know that if I text her back, there's going to be 6 texts coming back.
Yeah.
So I always plan a chunk of time. If she texts me and
Response.
says, "Hey, how are you doing today?" I say, "Okay, I'm going to block off 5 minutes because this
It's
is
always
going
like
to be
that
a
with her.
rundown."
If she calls me, I have to be aware of my surroundings, okay?
That too.
Because she video calls me. When she video calls me, she's naked.
I was going to ask you, is she naked?
So my son has seen her tits more times than like I swear that
Your
she's
son's
been
a
on
lucky
stage.
boy.
He sees a lot of nakedness, this child. I'm telling you.
See?
My friends are just like, my son's numb to it, I think. I don't even know how to say that, like, but he's just...
Well, it's funny you say that because I was just going through pictures that I took with my first camera. My dad had bought me a Rolleiflex camera. And I don't know if you're familiar with those. They would fold up from the top.
Oh, yes.
And the lens was down, and you look into them. And they have the dual lenses.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's what I learned how to first get shots. And I was at the candy store in Fort Lauderdale. And there was like a belly flopping contest.
No shit.
Oh, wait to hear this.
My mom worked there.
Did she really? Are you kidding me? Oh my God. See how small this world is? Well, I loved the name of it. I loved everything about it. And
Yeah, that's funny.
we were staying at the hotel. My dad was, part of his studio was, he had some guys there and they were filming this competition. It was a swimsuit competition and the belly flopping and some other shit going on. And I had the camera and I was standing poolside, and there was a blonde woman with a crocheted bikini and top. And it was great because I kept looking everywhere since my dad passed away to find these photos. And there's a photo, I'm standing there and I'm looking down through the lens, so I'm not really paying attention to what's happening, I'm just seeing what's coming through. And this blonde walks toward me. Now I was 10 maybe, maybe 11. And she pulled her tit out, and I snapped like 6 shots of her. And it's a great shot. I wish I have a copy of it on my phone. I'll show you later. But I just remember I was like, I was pumping the trigger, and my dad started laughing, and he said, "You're the only one that got a breast shot the whole day." So we got back up to the room, and my mom said, how were the pool shoots? And my dad told her, and my mother was like, "Oh my God, like what? Like what were there a lot of nude people down there?" And my dad was like, No, it was just the one, and she did it purposely for him. And I don't know if she was still pleased or if she was kind of like, yeah, no, you're not doing that anymore. But that was my first boob shot.
Wow.
It happened by chance, but I got at least six pictures of it.
Yeah. Nia was the first boobs that my son had seen that were not mine.
You never forget them.
No,
even as a gay man.
He's just
that's
like
my first.
My son is just
my
literally
first thing.
just like whatever. He's just like.
I've always been fascinated with boobs since then.
My kid is just like whatever.
You want to take them out? I'll look at them. That might have been a request. No. I've seen them.
You've seen my titties more than enough.
I know, I've seen them. They're nice.
Both sets.
Both sets. Yes, I've seen both generations. This generation I like.
Yeah, these are bolt-ons now.
Yeah, no.
I'm like, make them stay up all the time.
So tell me now, how much do you weigh? Be honest.
Probably right now, I'm probably in the 98 to 100.
And how much does each breast weigh?
2.5 pounds each.
Oh, see.
So that's
It's 5 pounds.
But
of breast.
I lost a lot of weight. I've been working really hard to
you look
get
great.
my pre-baby body back. Like I was in immaculate shape. The abs, like the ass was up high in 2019, right?
I think you're right back
I'm not
there.
there yet.
Oh, you're back there.
I would actually like to transition in doing like fitness stuff.
Oh,
so,
I thought you were going another way.
because I'm a
I was
contest
like, get
whore.
ready. This is a whole other topic. Justice is transitioning.
I am transitioning. Yeah.
We're going to use all the hot words today. Okay.
Transitioning.
Yes. I'll
Can't
be
say
canceled
that
by the
word
end
in
of this
Tennessee.
one. All I have to have is a couple of truncated words in there, and we'll get it shut down. So I'm going to ask you just a couple personal questions.
Sure.
I know that, where do you start to feel like you age out, or you comfortable in your own skin right now that you think, hey, you know what, I can do this as long as I want?
I think that I'm in the moment where I'm lucky enough where I can still perform.
Yeah.
And I don't really think age is a problem
No, I don't either.
at all. I think it's your aesthetic. on
Yeah.
how you're put together and how you conduct yourself when you're somewhere. You know, there is someone for someone.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like some
I don't
people,
think you get generationally challenged.
right.
I
I
think people
mean,
still like you.
I think if you look good and you're still talented, you could still pull it off. Like fuck, why not? I'd like to be done in about 3 years. I think
Yeah.
the 45-year mark for me.
You're 60.
No, 45 for me, I think is, I would probably still dance till I'm 60. I wouldn't give two flying fucks, honestly.
I think you'll be fine.
I think I'd still look great. I mean, if you saw my mother is 72, and she looks like she's in her 40s.
Yeah.
You
I
know?
look at my mom all the time, and I think the same thing.
Yeah.
She's 76, and I know people always ask me when I'm out with her, like, what does your wife want to drink? And I'm like,
Say
my
what?
wife? I'm like, get out of here. And then my mother's like, that's a compliment to me. I'm like, that's an insult to me. No, but not really. But people ask me, or they ask me, like, what does my sister want? And I'm just like, that is my mother.
Yeah, I
But
have that all the
she's
time.
at a university, and she's surrounded by young people. And she doesn't drink, she doesn't smoke, she doesn't do drugs. She sleeps well. She doesn't wear a ton of makeup.
Okay, none of that is my mother.
Yeah, and I think
It's just good genes for us, I think.
I start to think maybe I need to cut out a few things in my life. I don't know which ones, but
That's a hard list to
yeah,
narrow
that-
down. You
yeah,
know,
out of
if
that
you're gonna have
group,
to
I-
take something out.
I'm using all that,
Right?
all the way to makeup. So, so tell me, when I first met you, you were a redhead.
Yes.
And then you weren't just a redhead, then you became like a fiery Mr. Heat Miser kind of red.
Yes.
Like that orangey
that.
red. Then you were red, pink
I actually
red.
I got called Ronald McDonald once
Yeah.
by Jerry. It's the funniest shit. Like the world is a stage, and you should always look appropriate when you're leaving. If you're somewhere and you're going out of your hotel room, I was at Expo, and it was like 7 o'clock in the morning, and I was like, okay, I need to get coffee, and if I go early enough, no one's around. Yeah, no, that didn't work. So he saw me with the bare face, hair pulled back, and he's like, oh my God, you look like Ronald McDonald. And, and it was that moment where I was like, oh my God, I was unprofessional, and,
Yeah.
So now it's just like, he started weighing, and I was looking at photos. I look fucking amazing as a redhead. Like, that's just
I
that.
thought you were going to say it was Ronald McDonald.
And as Ronald McDonald, I'll put those, cocksucking lips on there.
Oh, we'll get to that.
I'll
haven't
I'll
gotten
draw
there
it on real thick and juicy, for sure. But but I just felt like there's been this change, and social media was a part of it, where everyone wants to look like Kim Kardashian, and this the makeup has changed, the contouring, and all of that kind of makeup and skills do not look good with a redhead.
It's funny you say that too, because with a friend that I just traveled with, we were discussing it. If you look at, talking about Kim Kardashian makeup, there's like English makeup and American makeup.
Yeah.
The English women, they wear a ton of makeup. I mean, a lot.
Yeah.
Like, it's that glossy face. It's very, you look at people and you just think, that is a shit ton of makeup. And then you come back home and you look at women, and they're not wearing makeup like that. They're wearing more like that matte look.
Yeah, but it's still a lot of makeup. Like, I used to be the type that just a little bit of foundation, some powder, here's some blush, throw on a liner, lashes, and red lips. That was it. And it would take me probably 10 minutes to do my face. Now, I'm just like, trying to fit in with the aesthetics now and be looking age appropriate, but not have it cakey. And it's like cream concealers, cream contouring, and different fucking anal sponges. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what they look like. They look like anal
Tell me
sponges
more about
to
those
me.
anal sponges. No.
But they do. They look like, So and you like. And then it's like, oh, well, you can't blend down. You have to blend up to make your face look like it's up instead of down. And there's like all these new rules for makeup. And I'm just like,
That's true.
now it takes me an hour to slap on a face, and I still look like I got hit by a Mack truck.
You look beautiful. Even after an accident.
Sephora Chuck, not Mac
Well,
Chuck.
yeah. So now, what made you? Okay. So what made you grow up in your hair color or in
Bookings.
bookings?
Yeah.
Now, is it because people said negative things, or it's just
No.
you kind of realized you needed to be in another place?
Yeah, I realized it was time to grow up.
Yeah.
It's no shade to any other girls
Yeah, no.
that are, but I found that I made myself more marketable as a feature entertainer because I'm appealing to a wider audience. However, some guys still like blondes. Some guys,
Yeah.
you know what I
See,
mean?
you had a
Like,
Fifth Element quality about you back then.
yes.
That I liked, that I thought was sexy in its own way. But I see what you mean. I think there were some audiences that probably looked at you like, oh, that's not the girl for me.
Yeah.
Where they would put you in a spot like I did.
Yeah.
Because I thought, well, there was a creative piece to you that I thought was energizing. But then I would imagine that over time, like what you probably felt, is it's not energizing anymore now. It's
Right.
just polarizing.
Yes.
That people are like, oh yeah, that's the girl with
It's
the
kind of,
the bright hair.
been there, done that, you
Yeah.
know? So you have to learn to change with the times.
Do you think you set any trends by doing it, or do you think people were following you, or people just kind of were like, no, that's Justice. She's out there. We'll just let her be.
I know that there was other girls that had red hair,
Yeah.
but in Canada, it definitely wasn't a thing.
Yeah.
Now I see it, and I look back and I look at some girls with the red hair, and I'm like, that's not the right tone of red for you.
Yeah.
And then I
Red's
sit there
tough.
and I think about myself, and I'm like, did I have the right red tone? Because I did the burgundy, I did the pinkish red, and I found that super bright manic panic red is what worked on me.
I've done that before. I was
But-
young, but that's a hard color.
It is a hard color.
Because you feel great about it, and then sometimes I know what I felt sometimes. Well, when I was young, I didn't really think too much of it. But when I did it when I was older, like kind of reliving your past. And I remember I was in the car, and somebody looked at me, and I was like, what the fuck are you looking at? And I was like, oh, yeah, I'm the guy with the fluorescent hair. Like, yeah, of course they're looking at me. Like,
Yeah.
They're like, what's wrong with this guy?
Yeah.
And I'm acting like they're the problem.
But I mean, we're just creative. But I think back then we had that opportunity a little bit more. I mean, you had like Bamboo Jessica with like fluorescent pink hair with
Yeah.
dreads, and she had that niche. You know what I mean? But
Is
I
she
think
still around?
no, she retired.
Okay.
Yeah, but I mean, like I think now girls are transitioning,
What
and
happens when you guys retire? Where do you go?
I'm out to pasture.
Dude,
No, honestly, right?
Take
Now,
you out back, boom.
The thing is, you either go to become
She's
like
gone.
a vet tech of some sort, you become a nurse, or you become a real estate person.
Oh no, that's what all gay people do. They become real estate.
Well, I mean, I went to nursing. The wife went for nursing.
Oh yeah, oh, yes.
You know,
We're gonna get to her. No.
there's another one that's going to nursing, and then I just seen 3 other girls.
She's the nurse you want to have.
Right.
We're talking about Angela Summers. That's her wife.
It's my wife.
That's her work wife.
My
Well,
work wife.
not just your work wife. She's yeah.
More than my work wife.
Yeah, more than your work wife. She's well, everyone knows she's my favorite.
So.
I adore her. But
I
I'm
love
always
she's-
jealous when I think of the things you two do with each other. I think I just want to be a fly on the wall.
I have a.
Is that
Right.
odd? Is that awkward?
You know what we honestly do? We cuddle a
I know.
lot.
That one
My
time when
eyes
you two
butter.
said, I think we were at EDI, and I don't know what was going on, but you guys were going upstairs, or you guys were going upstairs, and Gene and I were sitting there, and Tom said, I said, aren't you going up? And he said, oh, that's their girl time. I said, I want to be part of girl time. I want to be part of this down here right now. And when you guys came back down in the morning, I can't remember what the whole conversation was, but we were eating breakfast.
Yeah.
And I said, if I ever get the opportunity, I'm going to go up there and see what happens myself. I think I told you guys that.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a lot of cuddling.
Yeah, I can
Lots.
imagine. She's gorgeous.
She's my baby. I'm so proud of her.
We always say, and I've said it many times on here, when she said she would be my surrogate, I said, Okay, it's between her and Christiana Sins. I don't know who's
You know,
going to take the...
I've been telling her for years. Like, I think the plan originally was we were supposed to get a house in like New Orleans.
Yeah.
And we were supposed to move down there. I was supposed to have the baby down there. You know, but then COVID happened.
Yeah.
And life happened. And I had to make a financial decision and, for the future.
That's
so
right, because where were you living then?
So I was kind of all over. I was dating a rock star.
Yes.
And
I didn't know if we could get into that.
Oh, totally.
Who was it that you were
There's
dating?
no shade. So Lexi Fox and I from Steel Panther.
Yeah.
So we were together for 5 years. So we have a beautiful child together.
Yeah.
So we're in a good place now.
Good.
So,
I didn't want to go too far into your personal life unless you wanted to go there.
I'm an open book. Everyone knows that.
Now, did you get out of your rock star phase, or did you date somebody else that same genre?
I have not dated anybody else since him.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, so tell me this. Can we talk about it?
Absolutely.
All right. So no dicks in your life lately?
None. Zero. Nada. I have been celibate for 5
just
years.
Pussy.
Actually, 5 years and 10 months.
Just pussy, no dicks.
You know, I haven't even been with a girl in that time either. I've
Really?
been fully celibate. My breakup with him was so gut-wrenchingly awful for me. I thought my world ended.
Yeah.
You know, I was literally like a phoenix from the ashes. So I was so destroyed and broken that I needed to find out who I was as a person without him, without being Lexi's girlfriend.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And everyone in the industry, chumming up to me because, I got a famous boyfriend. Do you know what I mean? So
That could be rough.
I took that time
You're
to...
a nun now. So you're a nun now.
I am a nun. I am.
She's a nun.
My hymen grew back.
She's a beautiful nun.
It grew back, absolutely.
She's a nun with great tits.
Yeah, like, I mean, geez, I've had to, yeah.
I don't know if I've ever heard that, a nun with great tits.
And then becoming a mom, and then, and focusing everything on this small human that I'm responsible for.
Now, do you see yourself finding your way back to dicks?
I think if the right one, if the right one came along. I mean, to God's honest truth, I'm still very much attracted to my ex.
Yeah, that can happen.
Like, he is... I love men that look like women sometimes.
Yeah.
Because I go both ways. But to me, like, my biggest crush in my entire life was David Bowie. And when I seen him in Labyrinth, I was like...
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God,
I think that was a
Jared.
lot of people's crush.
Right. And then
I think I had that crush a little bit.
growing up with the hair bands, that's why I love hair bands. Mind you, I just love the genre of music, but the men, I loved the look.
Yeah.
So that is fucking sexy to me. So when I met him and he was like that, I was just like, oh my God.
Now, does he still look like that, or is he...
He does not.
No.
He's still, there. He still wears some makeup. He thinks I don't know. I know. I know he wears makeup still, but he's still a beautiful man, and I am still attracted to him. But I also very much still love my like GQ male model, but I also love the furry big man, that'll keep you warm in the winter, like the man's man. So I'm just, it's for me, intelligence is very, very sexy, right? That's what we were talking about before. My prime minister, he's an older silver fox hottie. Right. So I'm just like...
Yeah, the distinction is very distinguishable between our president and your prime minister.
My prime minister is fucking hot.
See, she's got the hots from.
I do. I
heard
think
about it at lunch.
I think he's dead sexy. I love older men. I do.
Yeah.
I cannot date a younger man. I just
No.
can't. I don't have time to train them.
Sometimes you just want a wild beast.
I want a man that just knows,
Yeah.
So I'll get there, but I just need to find the right one because I want
I'm
the
gonna keep
old
in touch
school.
with you to find out when you get back.
Yeah, well,
to
I have to find the man that knows the old school romance because I'm sorry, I'm not the DTF girl after, a couple dates.
Yeah.
You need to earn that shit.
Oh, really?
I want to be wined and dined. Buying me a couple drinks is not going to do it for you. Like,
Oh, see, I don't even need them to buy drinks. I'm ready.
I'm just not there because
Shane?
for me it's mental.
You ready to wine and dine her?
Oh, and I'm expensive to eat.
Yeah, she's expensive. And,
Dino can tell you how much I eat too.
and
Fuck.
she's picky.
I'm very picky. Very picky.
Yeah, and expressive.
Extremely. I have no filter. I have no
yeah,
filter.
she has no filter. I know all these things.
I think I'm good. No, I'm just kidding.
Right? Because he's like, oh shit, that's just exactly.
I'm out.
I know how to behave in public if needs be. No, see, I'm not.
She's not peaceful.
I am not. But it's just like, I do my own
But those
renovations.
traits are reliable.
And, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, consistency is everything.
It is because, like, I find so many people are so fake in this world now.
Just excuse the
and it's girls,
boring me.
not all girls, like, but there are some girls who are like just want to take advantage of men and their money and whatever. I want somebody who's going to be a partner in my relationship. It's not tit for tat. It's it's a partnership.
Those are hard to find. I mean,
Right, exactly. That's why I'm single.
And also,
I'm not paying your bills, and I don't expect you to fucking pay mine.
Yeah, but do you find it hard too? I mean, I ask everybody this. Given what you do for a living, do you find that most men, when they start dating you, they're like, "Oh,
They feel
I love the
emasculated.
idea. Yeah, I love the idea of this woman. She's beautiful. She dances on stage. She travels." And then a couple of weeks, months into it, they're like, "I can't stand the fact that you get naked
Oh
for
yeah,
all these people."
absolutely.
What
And then
happens
I say,
to these men?
there's the door. Don't let it hit your ass on the way out.
Is it insecurity or
Absolutely.
is it just?
Because a man who's like secure in their relationship with their woman who is a dancer, then there's no problems. There's none. It's their
Do you think
own
it's the fact that
insecurity.
they're naked, or do you think it's the fact that just the men are looking at them when you're naked? I know it sounds like there's not much distinction, but I think there is.
There is. There's the voyeurism and the fantasy that goes along with it versus the ideological sense of being a dancer.
Yeah.
Everyone wants that, oh, I've got the hot stripper girlfriend, until they be like, oh, well, that guy's touching you, that guy's, monopolizing your time, you don't give me the same attention that you do them, because as a dancer, most of us are exhausted mentally when we come home.
Yeah, I'm sure.
We don't want to play games when we come home. We just played them all night,
Yeah.
Like, we just want to come home. We just want to my feet hurt. My back hurts. I've been standing in 8-inch heels all night. Leave me the fuck alone. If you're not going to be there for me.
Shane's definitely out now.
Right?
You really
I'm
cemented
sorry.
it.
I'm not the one. I am not the one. I'm not working 10 hours and then making you a fucking sandwich. Especially if you've been home all night. You know what I mean? But if you're all working hard all day and you've had a hard day at work, I'll be the first one. Here, let me run you a bath. Let me make you supper.
Maybe I need to learn
It
some
has to
things.
go both ways. But as a dancer, it's just, you just need a man who has a fucking backbone.
Yeah, I would imagine that becomes rather stressful. Yeah. God, like I said, just ignore me. That's terrible. My brain is starved.
It is starved. You need a Red Bull.
No, you know what? I can't even drink those.
Oh, I love
Like anymore, like I tell people all the time, for all the things I used to do in my past, if I did them now, you and I talked about this.
Yeah.
If I did them now, it would take me 3 days to recover. If I smoked a whole joint right now, tomorrow I'd be out of commission.
Yeah.
I would have to sleep. I'd be torn up.
Yeah.
And to me, I just can't.
It's know your limit, play within it.
Yeah, I just can't be
That's
that
like the
person.
Ontario slogan for like gambling, by
Yeah.
the way. But
I
you
watch some
suspect,
people,
but
friends of mine, they'll smoke like 3 joints back to
can't.
back.
I
And I
can't.
look at them, I think, that would totally ruin my weekend.
Like, one of my girlfriends last night was like, I took these gummies and it made me paranoid, and I was up all night. I was like, oh girl, if I had gummies, I'd be like, yeah, you know what I mean? My best part of my night is literally I'd be smoking on my vape, and then I'll get the munchies. I'll polish off a bag of chips, and then I'll be like stuffed, and then I'll watch some old 80s rerun of something like Alf or like Who's the Boss.
Oh
or
wow,
just-
you really are high.
right? That's what I mean. Like, that's what I want. I want
Now
that.
Shane smokes a lot of
retardedness.
pot.
I'm back in.
He's back in now. He's back in.
He's like, all right, we can toke now. We can toke. We can't date, but we can toke.
Yeah. No, the last time, and it's funny you say it, the last time I did anything was Jardin gave me gummies. And they were Bambi and Chardin's gummies.
Yeah.
And I ate 2 of them.
Oh God.
And I was watching TV at the hotel, and all of a sudden I could see like it was 3-dimensional. Like the TV was kind of out a little bit,
God.
and the couch, and I looked down at the floor and I was like, wow, I think I'm high.
Yeah.
And I went to get up off the couch, and I literally
can't.
did like a handspring sideways. I got off the couch,
God.
and I said, fuck this, I'm going to
God,
bed.
me and Chardin, like the amount we would smoke together, like we would share rooms just so we could like smoke. Oh God.
Yes.
That
Yeah.
girl, okay, just man.
Yeah, yeah.
She's another one with no filter.
I know, I love her.
No filter. Put me and her in a room together.
I'm always dangerous.
Your
with women like
ears
you
would
guys.
bleed from the no filter.
Yeah. It's dangerous for me too because I don't have one. And if I was out in the public more often, I would be canceled regularly.
Yeah.
Because
I know how to like tone it and like, ooh. Well, you heard me today just at the street, the guy hollering over at me, and I'm just like chirp, chirp, chirp
Oh,
back at
that
him.
guy was an asshole.
Because I'm like, really? Why are you screeching over me like that? She's a couple feet away. You can't walk
I felt
2
bad
feet.
for all the people on his tour because I thought if
That
I
was
was
so
on his tour, I would
unprofessional.
be like, guy, I'm leaving this tour.
Yeah. Ugh, Lord.
But,
People.
yeah.
It's just not having self-awareness, you
well,
know?
that and people don't have a
Mindfulness.
sense of personal space.
Yes.
Like, well, and we met that great couple today when we were
Yes.
eating. The 2 women that were next to them,
Oh,
the one
God.
was a beast, and the other one was
Leaning over, like, taking up all that space. Here, let me get my picture.
Yeah, I know.
Like, come on now. You could have moved over and given
She
them more
needed a
space so
wider
that the
angle.
woman wasn't sitting on the fucking corner.
Yeah, the woman that was next to me, she was definitely crammed.
Yes.
She was
That's why
struggling.
I, like, moved over. I'm like, I'll sit on the rail. Like,
And where
I don't
was she
care.
from? Uruguay or Paraguay?
Paraguay.
Paraguay. She was interesting.
Yeah. 5 languages.
Yeah, she had really great features. But then she had a tinge of masculinity that I liked.
I actually thought she was part, like, Samoan.
Yeah, she
Right?
had something that it drew me to her, and I kept. I didn't want to be like look like a pervert after she found out what I did for a living, and what you did. And I kept looking at her face, and then looking at her chest, and like looking at her face, looking at her chest.
I got, like, right in there. I was like, hey.
I know you did, and I kept thinking she probably thinks this guy's checking me out up and down. And I was like, no, just trying to get like a whole picture of like she was in really good shape.
Yeah, for 46.
Yeah,
I was like, wow.
she looked fantastic.
Yeah.
Hopefully they come in tonight and watch
And
the
celebrate
show.
her birthday. That'd be awesome.
Oh yeah, because we will put her on the on the
Oh,
stage with
oh,
you.
absolutely.
You will have to embarrass her. I
I
wish I could remember their names, but
Yeah, I didn't
Um,
catch that.
yeah, no. I think those interactions too. Once people hear what you do for a living, and then they
It
see
automatically
people like
changes. Yeah.
they have a different opinion of this whole industry
Yeah.
because they don't think anymore that like it's a sleaze factory.
Well, it's like when I go to like when I do some shopping, right? Sometimes I don't. My bank, for example, here that's a perfect example. When I first started going to my bank when I moved into my area, and I'm coming in with all these $1 bills, they're like looking at me like, what the fuck, right? Then there's confetti in there, there's glitter in there, they're covered in paint, and they're looking at me, the fuck, and I was like, I'm a stripper.
Yeah, see?
Like I'm like I'm not gonna hide it. I'm a stripper.
Just wash
and
your hands after touching my money.
And after like so much time of them getting to know me and having conversations with me, they're like, "Where are you going now?" And
Oh,
blah
yeah.
blah blah. And how's your booking? And and they're just like really great. And it just
Secretly, they're intrigued at that point.
they always are like.
They want to know more.
We were talking about a butthole competition. I was supposed to judge it. I didn't make it, but it's just the like. Yes.
So you were an asshole and didn't show up.
I couldn't make it. I wish I could have. I did judge
Honey,
it
I'm not
the
gonna
year
make
before,
the
but-
asshole judging competition.
But I was the asshole who didn't judge the asshole competition.
So you
But
I-
So you won.
you would think, right?
I've seen. Speaking of those, I still want to make those asshole chocolates. You like make a mold
yes,
of your
a
asshole.
mold of your asshole.
Yeah, you give them.
That'd be
I
great.
think I'm gonna send them to my husband.
That look like, dude.
They're really wild. They're like gold.
So that you
Look
pour
at-
like a silicone thing, in your butt crack, and you make like a resin mold from
Yeah.
it, and then you put chocolate, tempered
Like a
chocolate.
Reese's cup type of thing, with, like, the
No.
crease of your,
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it'll show the spokes of your asshole.
Yeah.
For sure.
There you go. The spokes of your
Spokes.
asshole. That's gonna be the name of my first book. The spokes of my asshole. Yeah, no. I mean, they're very weird looking. They look like weird truffles, like anal truffles. That's the only way I can describe them.
All right.
chocolate. Right?
So we have chocolates that look like, anal truffles. We have, makeup sponges that look like, anal probe bead things.
So
You know.
now, I know you're not into porn. You don't have an OnlyFans account.
I do have an
Oh, wait, you
OnlyFans.
do?
I do. So then,
All
like,
right, what do you do on there? Come on, woman. Are you playing with yourself?
sometimes.
All right.
Sometimes.
good. 'Cause I don't wanna
just-
watch any other
I
kind
just
of
don't
OnlyFans.
put it on the wall. I'm like, you're gonna have to buy it. Sorry, but
Understandable.
$7.99 or $9.99, whatever it is you have to pay, is just not
You
enough.
got like Target prices.
Right? I'm like, you have to physically contact me, and then I tell you my price
Then
and
you get to see
whatever.
the vagine.
Right, right. Like, but I mean, I don't always have time to be on it, so
So tell me this: when you guys say that you don't have time,
I don't have time,
I know because you have a child, so that makes.
and
it
I'm
very
renovating
difficult.
a home.
That's
so.
true. That too. I was going to get to that. Do you find like I hear some women that are like, I make more money just laying in bed playing with myself than leaving the house. Do you think you're going to get to that point ever?
Probably not.
No.
I'm a
Because
busy
you just
beaver.
don't like playing with yourself that
I'm
much?
a busy beaver.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
Yeah.
why don't you just make your beaver busy?
She's celibate, dude.
I'm celibate. I
I
am.
know that sucks.
I just have to find the right one. I mean, I guess I could rope.
Yeah,
I could
do they
rope
really?
Lexi in and be like, "Hi,
Do these?
do you want to do some videos?" Because he has a massive, massive dick. So he could be a porn star, and he could probably just get his life back to that level.
See?
I'm just saying.
Well, I can't tell you who said it to me, but when I was away, I had motioned somebody to come talk to me, and I went like this with one finger, and they said,
Oh,
you don't think you're going to make me come with one finger, do you? And it took me a second, and I was like, did they just say what they think they said to me? So I went like this. And they said, that's more like it. I said, okay. Yeah. That was my next move was, yeah, let's go. But yeah, when they said, do you really think you're going to make me come with one finger? And I thought,
it's a clever quip.
okay, smart ass. I was like, the only thing I've got is a whole hand gesture.
You put that glove on.
Yeah. My Michael Fassbender comment. I don't know if you ever saw him when he talks about they were making Alien, and he talks about how they had to go buy gloves for the scenes that they were doing when he would put the gloves on an Alien. And here, the town that they were in, they bought all the fisting gloves.
Oh my
They went
god.
to all the sex shops, I guess, and bought every fisting glove that they had.
Oh.
And yeah, and everyone was like, "What are fisting gloves?" And he was like, "Oh, there are these particular gloves. They're black, and they're for fisting." And the interviewer was kind of like, okay,
Like my face, I'm like,
They
Yeah.
stay intact.
yeah."
wow.
So I always love listening to that. When I see it pop up on the internet, I always watch it again because it's funny hearing him talk about fisting gloves in an interview. Because I think the rest of the people there were sitting there like,
Yeah, that's
Wow.
my face. I'm like,
what is
wow.
that? Yeah, I'm always, and I tell people
Yeah.
all the time, even when I'm here. My spouse is 25 now, and I'm 55, and I used to think, man, I'm sexually advanced. I've got it all. I know what's going on. I've done this, done that,
Oh,
been here.
no.
I was like the tip of the iceberg. There's like a whole other, a lot of shit
Layers.
down there that I haven't touched.
Yeah.
And every so often he brings it out, and I just think, am I going to try that really? And then I'm like, oh, let's go for it.
Am I really gay?
Yeah. I question it. Sometimes I'm like, that's a whole new area.
That's, yeah.
Do you ever have that happen in the straight world?
Am I that committed?
Yeah.
You know, when
Am I
I
that
was
committed?
well, when I was younger, I was always
I'm gonna
down.
ask a
I
friend
was
that.
like,
Do I appear to be that committed to
I
this
used to
lifestyle?
go to like the those couples places, the swingers clubs. I used to pick up couples all the time.
Yeah.
I was always open for anything. The older I got, it definitely changed for sure.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of just like, am I so fucking vanilla now?
No, so tell me this. Like, if you remember some
I'm
of
celibate,
your...
so shit, it's powdered milk at this point.
Yeah. Are some of your best sexual experiences intimate, or are they not intimate? Yeah, they're poof. Yeah, because I look back at a lot of my sexual experiences, and I think most of the ones that were memorable were not intimate. They were outlandish or freakish or not warranted, or something happened, and it next thing I know, that's what was happening. I don't look at it like I've never. If somebody said to me what was my best sexual experience, I'm never like, oh yeah, that was with my husband. That's not in my brain. I mean, it is,
Yeah.
but that's not my most memorable. Those are
Yeah.
my most precious, but they're not my most memorable.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's a good way to put it, so I'm not in trouble when I get home.
Bleep it out.
Yeah, but I look back like, and some of my best sexual experiences didn't even have me involved. Like I remember one time I was in, I think it was Memphis or Nashville. It was one of the two cities, and we went into an adult bookstore, and it had plywood doors on the video rooms, and they were on spring-loaded
God.
things. So when they open them, they sound like barn doors, like.
Yeah.
And I went into one booth, another friend of mine went into a booth, another friend of mine. There were three of us, and all of a sudden I could hear this like sound, and I heard my friend go, "Oh fuck no!" And I heard the door, and then mine opened, and he came in. I said, "What happened?" He goes, "That guy had a tub of fucking Vaseline, and he just put his whole hand in there and was." And I said, "That's what I heard." I could hear the hand in the
Oh my
Vaseline.
God.
I said, "You better be glad you had pants on. Your ass was going to be used."
Oh my God.
And he was like, "Yeah, he had a whole fistful of Vaseline."
No. No.
And I look back on that now and I think, first of all, who goes to an adult bookstore with a tub of Vaseline, other than just like a total pig?
Right.
And
I did this one time when he was
yeah,
never again.
yeah, never again.
Oh my God.
So, but I remember the sound because I could hear it. That gelatinous kind of.
Oh.
It sticks with me every time. And every time I'm in a store and I see like, if I ever am in a Walmart and I see like the big Vaseline.
Big tubs of
Yeah,
Vaseline.
I always think I just want to
hear
buy
that.
one of those and walk into an adult bookstore one time just to freak people out and be like, "Come on, motherfuckers." I'll be in stall 3.
New TikTok video.
Yeah, yes. How to apply petroleum jelly properly. But
Oh, shit.
yeah, so do you have one of those kind of stories that like maybe it wasn't your own or maybe it was, that you look back on and you think, that was a freakish moment?
I don't know. I was wild.
Yeah.
I think I did a live sex show once.
Okay,
So I
see?
think that would be like the closest thing.
Now, did you feel like you were performing or were you just in the moment and you were like, people are watching, whatever?
I was just in the moment and I just didn't care.
Yeah. So you weren't acting like having sex and like looking at the audience like, oh yeah, I'm going to make this.
Yeah, I was just into this girl. Her name was Rabbit. We called her Rabbit.
There you go.
Yeah. And it was just there and, and I was making her feel good. She fucking squirted multiple times. So I was like, hey.
You mean peed? No, I'm kidding.
So
No, I'm kidding.
golden shower. But I think other than that, it was just like, meh.
Yeah. Now, let's talk about some other things. Do
Mm.
you find when your son is old enough, are you going to be honest about your career and everything you've done?
If he finds out and he asks,
Yeah.
I'd be like, well, how do you think you got all the clothes on your back and the toys that you played with and the roof over your head?
Yeah. So you're not
There's
ashamed
no
of anything.
shame. Absolutely not.
Great.
None.
Yeah.
Fuck, right? Especially when you're asking for a $1,500 fucking
It was
Lego
Joe at the club in
Titanic.
Detroit.
Lego Titanics. And
Yeah, you
you
should see
want
this
to
Titanic that they built. Oh my God.
Lamborghinis and toys are not cheap anymore. They're not.
Yeah, I know.
They're
Target
so
sells them now.
oh God. He loves Target. That kid loves Target. You know why? They have a section in there called Driven. And
Really?
it's all big remote control trucks and
Oh
stuff.
God. Yeah.
You know?
I do like that.
Now I can buy a $70 bus or crane or whatever that's remote control for $70 American. I go home and that's like $300 in Canada. So, you know,
I was going to ask you, when you're like, are you able to be like the food mule or the food mule? Like, do you buy milk in America and like other stuff and go back?
no, I don't buy
So
food
you-
in the States.
So you're
There's
pretty
different health regulations in both countries.
Yeah.
So I like to tell people the Fruit Loop thing. If you look at American Fruit Loops
Oh, yeah.
versus Canadian Fruit Loops, it's all dyes in
Yeah.
American. And
But you only
Canadian
get
Fruit
two
Loops.
colors. You only get like
No,
orange and
no.
yellow.
No, we're multicolored. We have grape too, you know.
Oh, there are?
And watermelon.
They're using
And
like beets.
yeah,
Yeah.
we are using natural fruit juices, and you know.
Yeah, that's true.
So ours is more natural. So it's just like, it's nothing against American food, because I mean I eat it, you know, but I
yeah,
just
but
don't.
I mean, we have a lot of processed
It's just the
sugars.
regulations when you're crossing over the border. So
I love anytime I'm in Europe or anywhere, because even like this last trip, every time I want something to drink, there's virtually everything is zero. They have a version of it.
mhm,
So I don't have to have all the sugars. And then if they don't have that, they have a low sugar version
yeah.
or a natural sugar version. I just wish we'd get to that level here where we had those options instead of, you go somewhere and they're like, yeah, we have Diet Coke. And I'm like, Diet Coke sucks.
Ugh.
It tastes
I
like
don't
shit.
like that aspartame taste.
Yeah, it's horrible.
Oh, I can't.
And then I
diet
found out the
anything.
reason. Coke Zero was made to be completely identical to regular Coke. Diet Coke was never meant to taste like Coke.
Ugh,
It was made as Diet Coke.
it's all just gross.
The company even talks about it
Sorry.
that it was made as its own flavor profile to get a diet drink out there.
Well, it's the same with like the iced tea. You know, I come down and I'm like, oh, can I get iced tea? And then they send me this thing. And I'm like, what the fuck is this rotten shit? You know, and they're like, oh, you just put sugar in. I'm like, no, you don't add sweetener. Like, no,
it's just tea.
just wrong. Like, you know, versus Canada, we have like iced tea. Like
Yeah.
it's sweet and flavorful, and you can have raspberry and mango and peach, and
She's just a Canadian.
it's different. It's like I watch these reels like on Instagram where like Americans are trying Canadian stuff.
Yeah.
You know, like our bagged milk.
Bagged milk.
Bagged milk.
No, what the hell is that?
Literally milk in a bag.
Herself right now.
Yeah. Oh. I didn't say that.
Powdered. I'm powdered, not bagged. Condensed.
She's condensed. She's
But
got
yeah,
some
but
sugar in there.
we have bagged milk. We
No.
sell milk in bags.
Now, what do you do with that?
You put them in a little picture and you snip off the end and
So you have like a little udder.
yeah.
Speaking of which, when I was in Bath, they had a condiment section for
Mhm.
your, and it looked like 6 dicks hanging from a cord, and you have to squeeze the dicks.
Squeeze the piping bags.
Yeah, but they weren't bags; they looked like dicks.
When I was in Australia, they were
Yeah.
selling spotted dick.
Yeah, it was weird. I was like, why would
Cans
you
of
make
it.
them look like that?
Cans of
They want to
spotted.
put a handle on it or something a little more friendly looking.
Yeah.
They looked like sex devices. They were just hanging there, like a guillotine of dicks. It was weird. It was very strange, and of course I had to use them.
Naturally.
Test them all.
It's like an animal. Aw,
Yeah.
kitty.
Yeah.
There's a murder kitty. Let me pet it. Yeah.
So, Justice, what are you doing next? What's coming up? What are you gonna do?
Well, I have EDI
Yeah,
West.
you're competing.
Yes, I'm competing.
Is there anybody you don't like to compete against? Like when you see them, you're like, yeah. Do I have to go after her, or do I have to go before her?
No.
No.
Like, I'm confident in my ability. I
Okay.
don't like competing with girls who take it way too seriously.
How about girls that are unprepared?
That's
think
not
that
my
brings you down?
problem.
No.
I tried to
Or do you think I should rephrase that? Do you think there are features in the community that don't represent you guys as a whole?
yes, absolutely.
That's what I really meant to get
That
to.
is a hard yes, absolutely.
So like when you get to a competition, you're like, why the fuck is she in this?
I think that
I
there
worked too hard to
are
have her in here.
features that are being misled And I think sometimes, like when I started featuring, I had an old school feature, Show Me the Ropes. And I think some of the veteran features don't want to bother to help some of the new girls.
Yeah.
And like it's not my problem anymore. It's not my problem. Okay, true, it's not. But how are they supposed to learn? How are they supposed to evolve and become better? But then you can't be like, oh well, this bitch ripped off my shit. She's emulating. It's a form of flattery. She's not trying to be malicious. She's trying to learn. So for me, I used to get so uptight about, like, I would do a shadow screen, and the very next competition, there's 4 girls doing the shadow screen, and literally, EDI turning to me, like the owner is going, wow, aren't you a trendsetter?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm like, hey, it's a form of flattery. I can't get that shit. So now I'm like, I don't care if I have to compete against you. Contests are subjective. I cannot be everybody's cup of tea. It's the right show at the right time with the right crowd and the right judges. It's all subjective. It is like winning the lottery. There are girls that are so phenomenal that you think, oh, I can't beat her. And then you do.
Yeah.
Right? And then the newer girls, they want to be where you are. So
now, are you mentoring anybody right now?
I am. I am been working with Miss Farley Lynn.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and
I have to
love
book her. She's on my list.
She's great. She has a new show that we've been collaborating on.
Or not Farley Lynn. The other, Haley. The one that I could
Hayla Faye.
Hayla Faye.
Yes. Hayla Faye is gymnast.
Farley. I always confuse them. Farley, forgive me. Oh my God, she's going to kill me.
Hayla Faye is a gymnast.
Yes.
So she requires space and
I know. That's been a reason I've been.
But she, and she's a pole girl, but, she's learning Lyra right now.
That's what I've been told.
Yeah.
That's
and and you know what? If you keep the space clear downstairs, she can walk on her hands throughout the crowd and stuff.
Yeah, see?
So
What if I just asked her?
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
Ayla's
Farley,
great.
I love Farley.
Yeah, and there's a few other
Don't
ones.
tell me she's another work wife.
Farley?
Is she another work wife?
She's not a work wife.
Okay.
No, Nia has that with her. But I mean, I only have one wife, and that's Angie. So.
Now, my next thing is you and I are going to be hosting a panel.
Yes.
This will be my first time hosting one. I don't know. Is this your first time going to host one?
For EDI, yes.
So I guess.
Or ED Expo, sorry. Excuse me.
ED Expo. We'll have to. We're going to talk about why booking features is important. I think you're a great candidate for it. I'm glad when I saw your name as being up there with me. I think we'll have a good time and we'll get some content out there.
Yeah.
And maybe spark some interest in some owners and operators to think about why we do what we do and why guys like me have women like you. You have anything in particular you'd like to add to that conversation while we're on here that maybe just as a forerunner, because this will go out, Chris K, for example. Chris K, get in touch with me. You need to return an email.
Or a text, Or
a text, because I know he watches these. At least he tells me he does.
I believe like the panel's mostly about my perspective of how to be booked.
Yeah.
So I think I'm going to have like a checklist.
Yeah.
Is one, you need to find your branding, how to market yourself. Who are you as an entertainer? Are you an aerialist? Are you a burlesque artist? Are you a showgirl? What are you? What you got to know. And then you got to go, what is my skill set? How can I adapt from my skill set up to how to get booked? The expo is a great way to meet club owners, but they don't know who you are. How are you going to stand out from the hundreds of other girls, right?
Yeah.
And contests are great. They're a great way to get out there. But social media, you got to bring that in. Costuming, again, just brand. And then how you are at your booking. Your attitude is, unless you're like how we are, how we know each other.
Yeah.
We can shoot the shit. We can, on our comfort level. But it's like, know who you're talking to and know your attitude.
Yeah. And
aesthetics.
Side, and then my side is the other one of like, what are the residual benefits of it? how do we play off of social media and platforms of each
Right.
other, you know, piggybacking material, and also letting owners know that, you know, they watch competitions, but I really don't think ownership pays attention to competitions if they're
Right.
not a part of them.
They don't care how many titles I have.
No. What they want to know is, why should you be naked on my stage, and why should I fly your ass there?
Exactly.
And why should I pay you?
Exactly.
And I always look at it as not every club is a club for features. Not every clientele base knows how to handle them. But there should be an era of, I look at the showgirls and porn stars performing on my stage as vehicles that enlighten my staff. They give my house dancers aspirations. They give
Yeah.
them visuals or cues that say, "Wow, I think that's sexy," or "I loved
Yeah.
watching her." Gives my clients something fresh, whether they like it or not, or whether they even know they're accepting of it.
Yeah.
I'm throwing it in their face.
Well, see, what I like is that you book both showgirls and porn stars. And there are some clubs that are like, well, I only book porn stars. And I
Yeah.
get it. But in the same token, we hear, well, the porn stars don't do anything on stage. Right?
Yeah,
and
this
there's
is,
that big,
that's where I get into trouble a lot, because I do
Right.
have a lot of comments
and,
on that.
You know, you have to know what you're getting into.
Yeah.
You know, there are some porn stars that know how to do a lot of things on stage. You know, they're quite talented, but you know, then they talk about us, about our social media following. Showgirls are naturally going to have a lower amount of social media
Sure.
following.
Yeah, you just
Right?
don't have
we
the
don't
base.
have that reach, right? But we are trying. But you know what we do have? An action-packed, really good show that is going to give your clientele something they
Well, let me
haven't
ask
seen
you, as
before.
we're closing, what do you think would boost the showgirls' social media platforms?
I think more cross promotions. I think the girls cannot rely on the clubs just to post. And I mean, Instagram is oversaturated with here's my ass, here's my titties. What are you doing on there to stand out? Like, take some
So, like you and I were
some
talking,
videos, yeah.
personalization.
Yeah, like take some videos of you being a human, relate how you're relatable
Shane,
to them.
What's your thought on that?
I always say sell yourself, not your business.
Right.
Yeah, that's because see, I think that when we see, I mean, you and I talked about this at lunch, and Shane and I have talked about it. When I see our features post stuff like a good one that does it is Brett Rossi. She cultivates a group of people each time. We're like, hey, I'm at my hotel. I'm thinking about going out to get some food and riding some scooters. I'm in downtown DC. You know, you should look for me. I'll be the blonde, you know, falling all over the place. There's some humor. There's something to it that makes you think like, oh, I can see why guys like her.
Yeah. She's relatable.
Yeah, that like she's
Yeah.
a girl that I can run into on the street and be like, oh, you're Brett Rossi.
Sometimes men are just intimidated, right?
That's what I think. If you take that wall down, I think that personalization.
And the
Because we all know why you're
the
here.
over
I'm going to look at your
retouching.
pussy. I'm going to look at your tits.
Yeah,
You're
the
gonna be
over
on the
retouching
stage.
on the photos and stuff where it just you look so fake.
Oh yeah.
You
that's
know,
a
and the
lot.
catfishing, like there are clubs that are like, you don't look like your photo. You know,
Yeah.
so it's nice when I show up. They're like, "Oh my God, thank God you look like your photos."
I know.
And I was like, "Thanks." I'm like,
That's a
that
hard
photo
one.
was taken in 2012, but I like where you're going with it. You know?
I know. I hope you didn't mind that we used the redhead picture of you.
You know, I actually had a guy ask me last night, you know, I was expecting red hair. And I was like, I was surprised too that it was red hair, but you were intrigued that you wanted to see me because I had red hair,
Yeah.
you know?
Because I really didn't know what your hair would look like now. I wasn't sure. I wasn't 100%.
Well, you saw me in Dallas with dark hair.
Yeah, but then I thought. who
When we
knows?
went to that meat
changed.
place.
I made two.
Yeah.
One with her dark hair.
Oh, I know.
red hair.
Yeah, I like both.
Yeah.
And
Well, the one that's standing up was actually like a
You got flagged
chestnutty.
for that one?
Oh, the side
Really?
boob?
Yeah.
Side boob and bum.
The one that said live down the side of it.
Yeah, the
Did
side
we?
boob
We
and
got
bum.
some asshole flagged it.
I don't know if someone reported it or what, but it said this has been taken down.
I'm sure
based
somebody
on some
reported it.
guidelines or something.
That's so stupid.
I always get flagged. I'm on my 4th Instagram account because I'm constantly flagged for something, and I'm like the most PG boo.
Honestly, like we, the stuff I put on the
Yeah, I mean,
pages.
I'm
I push
super
it.
PG.
I mean, I've always believed that what we should do is be pushing the boundaries. I mean, we're in a business of pushing buttons and pushing
Right.
boundaries.
We're inching that line for sure.
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
I mean, I see so
I'm
much
a block
worse
from the
out
White
there.
House. I like being on the map.
Yeah, like, I mean, how is it that some girl is standing in front of like a camera where she's bending over and you can see her puss lips, you know what I mean, the outline of it, but here's the side of my boob, just the shape of it, and
Yeah.
we're being flagged. Do you know what I
I
mean?
know.
I'm like, I could see your vagine, girl,
Because even with your
but
picture
she
that
has
I
like
posted,
500,000 likes.
I made sure I had the whole side contour of your breast. And I put the Canadian flag only over your nipple. And then the other one, I did the same thing because I thought, I'm just going to push it.
I've seen pages where girls, they don't get flagged at all, but as long as they have some type of mesh see-through.
Right, and it's
It's
fine
like-
because it's art.
Yeah, I don't know.
How is what I'm
Yeah.
not doing art? I work really
Girl,
hard.
what you're doing is
I
not
am
art.
an
I'm
artist.
kidding.
I am
No,
a
I'm just kidding.
dancer.
You're
Like
just
the
a hoe.
U.S. government said that I'm fucking awesome. I'm extraordinary to the point where they brought me and said, "Yes, you
It's
can be
even
here,
on.
Miss
It's
Justice."
even on your work visa.
It's on my work visa. I am an alien of extraordinary ability.
That's right. I love that. I have to remember that quote. It was killing me. I kept thinking, what is that? And I kept thinking the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. I was like, I don't know what.
That was
how
a great movie.
I'm like, I don't know how that ties into what I'm thinking about.
Yeah.
But
But you know, when people are like, "Huh," I go, "I'm just a snow Mexican."
yeah, no, I always love seeing you and talking with you. We always have a great time together. One of my fondest memories is with Dan and you at breakfast.
My
and
salad.
we were eating, and he said, "Please tell me that's not one of our dancers." And I said, "Where?" And he goes, "The one with the red hair." And I said, "No, that's Justice." I said, "Hold on." So I motioned over, and you were eating. We're eating breakfast, and you were eating what? A quinoa salad.
I was having yogurt because I had just had a salad. the
Oh,
other
that's
day.
that's
Yes.
right. That's right. And then you decided to buddy yourself up to Dan. You knew where to go. She already had me, so you had to get him.
Okay, well, like the salad, literally, it was arugula, and it cost
That's
me
what it was.
$56 for arugula.
That's
And
right.
there was nothing
That
in
was
the
Miami.
salad. It was in Miami.
That's right.
And I was so angry because, like, I had been in lockdown for 2 years.
Yeah.
You know, I lived off all my savings. It cost me $1,000 for my room. It cost me $3,000 for a booth. You know, like, it was just like
I
ka-ching, ka-ching,
remember.
ka-ching. Now, if I'm going to spend $56 on a fucking salad, I expect some protein or something in it. And it was
That's right.
literally arugula. So I was angry. And then it was like, and here I am spending $20 now on breakfast for fucking yogurt.
Yeah, that was an interesting convention.
But Dan spent the money on bought me breakfast.
I was gonna say he did buy. Yeah, we
He
did
did
buy
buy
you
me
breakfast.
breakfast.
That's right. I forgot. Well,
And he's like,
Yeah,
here,
he-
now you don't have to spend $56 on
he
a
bought you
salad.
breakfast, but I paid for it. Or no, one way or
Something
another.
like that. It was on somebody's card.
It was on my card.
But yeah, it was a very expensive expo that no one was pleased with. I'm sorry, Chris. No one was pleased with.
My favorite was we were at the barbecue place, and that was you, Lauren, Phillips, myself.
Angie,
Angie.
I think.
Yeah, there were a bunch of us. And by the time we got the bill, and I don't know how it happened, and I know when we left there was an earful, because the waitress, we were picking up, I don't know how many people's checks, and Lauren was picking up checks. And when I looked at my credit card, it only had 2 people billed on my credit card.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's not
Because
what
I know
we-
Thomas and Angie paid for mine.
Yeah, I think they
Yeah.
paid for yours. And I think it got confusing. And then Tom, or not Tom. Oh. I'm trying to think who was sitting across from me.
Kenneth and his wife.
Well, they had said, boy, you guys got away with not paying for any of the appetizers or anything. I said, I know. I said, I didn't even notice because I'd been drinking and I got the check and I signed it and didn't think twice of it.
Yeah.
And then I talked to Dino later, and Dino said, "Oh, why don't we take care of dinner tonight?" And I said, "Yeah, that would probably be wise." So I just got away scot-free. I literally paid like $25 for food.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't eat much there because I was like, It was
Yep.
all these odd meats.
I know. I was telling Shane. I didn't
It's
think you
mostly
liked.
sausage. It was like everything was sausage, and I was like, I don't eat sausage.
Yeah, it was good.
That's why I'm celibate.
Yeah, you need more sausage in your diet, woman.
5 years, 10 months. 5 years, 10 months. I am counting.
We're finding you some dick tonight. My God. What kind of dick do you like?
Blonde.
Dark dick, white dick, ginger dick.
No.
I'm older than I look now.
Send me Carney and we'll figure it out. No, I'm kidding.
What kind of sausage do you have on the menu?
Sausage is not on the menu.
Well, Justice, tonight we're going to do another round of shows. I had a lovely lunch with you today. I'm sorry that we didn't pal around more, but I just know that if I didn't get a nap in today, I was going to be...
I napped hard.
This yawning would have been twice as much.
I never nap during the day, so I
Really?
I napped too.
Oh, I nap all the
so
time.
I was like, ooh, that was a new experience.
Yeah, no, I take a nap every day.
Oh,
If I don't, I'm
jealous.
doing this. I'm yawning.
Jealous. I'm up at 7 and then I go to bed at 3 and I live off of 4 hours. Unless I don't have to work, then I'm in bed by 8 with the
I
little one.
kind of do that because I get up. My husband gets up for PT at 5:30. I usually wake up, no matter how late I've been here. I'll get up, I walk the dogs real quick, and then I lay down and I go back to sleep till like 8:30.
Oh, God.
And then he comes crashing in again at like 8:30,
Oh,
and I'm
God.
up again because he's not silent. I mean, you know when he's in the house, shit's crashing and doors are opening and slamming and drawers are opening and slamming, silverware's clanking. I'm like,
Does he have an iPad? Give him an iPad and give him Roblox, because that's what I discovered works in my house.
yeah,
Here.
yeah, just go sit
Go.
somewhere. I just want to lay down.
Right.
But until we see again, we're going to see each other in August.
August.
But we'll talk before then because
Yes.
we'll create a plan of
Plan.
attack to get. And plus, I
Shape
want to
the
get some
new
features in
girls.
the room with us,
Yes.
so we have some things that we can pull out, like ask people, like, hey, let's get you to stand up for a second and call them out. I think that would be really good for us to have some people in the room that count.
I mean, I'd love to have Janine's take. I mean, she's doing the Clash of Titans now.
Yeah.
So that's like,
Get her, Lauren.
yeah,
I want to have some porn people in there.
yeah.
Mainly because I'm going to anger some people, is what I say, but I want their opinion. You know,
Yeah.
they should voice it so other club owners can hear what we're all talking about and how we can make it work.
Yeah, I would, like I said, I want some of the ones that only book porn stars to bring in the showgirls.
That too.
You
We're gonna
know,
talk
like
about it.
alternate it.
You be the good cop. I'll be the bad cop.
Fantastic.
We'll make a change.
Be
You don't have to be the bad cop all the time.
I know. I'm always the bad guy, even if I've never done anything.
We have another word for that, but
I'm a scapegoat.
no, bitch.
Oh, well. I serve, honey. I
You
serve.
serve.
CUNT.
Oh yeah, I wasn't going to use that word, but I do use that word a lot.
I'm creative, unique.
I'll show you
I
my
got
new
nerve
hat.
and talents.
If you look on my Instagram, you'll see my new hat that I brought back from London. One says twat and one says cunt.
Oh my God, I love it. Mine says goat.
Justice, behave. I'll see you tonight.
All right, sounds good.
Always a pleasure.
Pleasure.